सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति। Yeah, yes.
So last class, you explained age of perception, observation, scientific inquiry, but I couldn't follow anything. So can you please elaborate all the four?
You're saying rewind. There's no question. She's simply saying rewind the class. Repeat. What all we discussed last week, repeat it. Repeat it again. We'll repeat it today. Yes.
So, previous classes, we're talking about mind. And consequently, we said human beings' mind is more subtle, it's capable of both constructive as well as manipulative behavior. And you also said there is one thing in the mind that is self-destructive. After which we proceeded to say its likes and dislikes and expectations are in the human mind, which causes the destruction. Earlier we read about a lot of other qualities of mind. So when you said there is one thing in the mind that is self-destructive, like for example, you also said cobra has venom, but that doesn't, it's not self-harming. But man's mind, because one quality, is capable of self-harm, which is why there is this compensatory control mechanism called intellect. Now, do we need to understand what is that one thing in the mind that is self-destructive, or is it the whole lot of 8-9 characteristics?
The question that she's asking is, from what we discussed about the nature of the mind in so many sessions, in one of the sessions I mentioned that nature of the mind is no other species mind is self-destructive. The human mind is self-destructive. The other species only go and destroy the others. They will not destroy themselves. Only a human being is capable of self-destruction. In the sense, no other species has suicidal tendency. It will not say, I'm going to commit suicide. You know that, no? No animal on this, no other creature on this planet can conceive of suicide. And only a human being conceives of suicide. In everybody's lifetime, most would have contemplated it quite a few times, isn't it? Everybody would have contemplated about suicide quite a few times. Why? Because it is a self-destructive nature of the mind. If that is why the control mechanism, intellect, is to manage that. So what is that self-destructive mechanism is the question. See, to put it very simply, you know the lion, the male lion and the pride of female lions. Another male lion will enter their territory. When another male lion enters their territory, what happens? There will be a fight between the two males. If the lion that has entered wins, the lion that has lost will leave. Up to this is understandable. You know what the line does after that? What the male line that is one from outside, the line that came from outside wins the existing male line and drives the male line out, and it takes over the pride. What the male line does after that? It will kill all the cubs. It will kill all the cubs of the previous line. Do you know that? It will not, they don't mind killing everything, but they cannot kill themselves. Atma Hatya. It's called. Atma Hanaha. Isavasya Upanishad called it as Atma Hanaha, it says. Are you able to follow? This distinct nature of the mind comes from where? This distinct nature of the mind comes from where? Too much of attention upon yourself. When so much of attention is paid only to yourself all the time, and when things don't go your way, you feel it's not worth it. It's not worth living. Are you able to follow? It's the height of ego, it is. The height of ego where attention is paid only to yourself all the time. Everybody keeps themselves as the center of the universe. That is separate. But in these cases, it is so. In these cases, it is so exaggerated that they keep themselves as the center in an exaggerated way. Therefore, when things don't go their way, the natural tendency is what? Better to die than to live a life like that. Better to die than to live a life like that. Therefore, what is that mechanism of the mind that is so unique only to? I was trying to distinguish between the feelings of the other's mind and the human mind. The same male line will protect its cub. The same male line which is destroying the other cubs will protect its own cub. Its own cub, it will not go and smash. And you should see how they kill the little one. They just smash them to death. Oof. You know, no female line will go and divorce the male line for that. You know that also, no? No female line will go and divorce. No female line will go and, so how are you? Why are you so? Can there be any more cruelty than that? But no female line will say, no, now that you have done this, you are out of my life. No, they also there. So they also have feelings, emotions, but it's also so different that the human mind is so uniquely different. So I was trying to explain what is the unique difference of the human mind. Self-destruction is so unique only to human mind. And that self-destructive nature is so predominant in a human being. Why? Because the coping mechanism, the intellect is not developed. The coping mechanism, intellect develop and the problem. Are you able to follow? Why does a human being develop this tendency of self-destruction? Too much of attention upon self. Too much of attention upon self. Too much of attention upon self. A time comes where necessarily things will not go. Things will necessarily not go your way, isn't it? 51 years. Not a single day life is going in my way. Isn't it? What I want to eat, I can't eat. What I don't want to eat is what? Yeah, not a single thing in life is going in. No. That's how it is designed, intellect. That's how it is designed. Intellect would be able to guide it properly. Otherwise, the self-destructive nature is detrimental. Able to follow? So where is it coming from? Self-centeredness.
Should not look at the
No.
none of the
It is highly self-centeredness. Self-centeredness to the core it is. Self-destructiveness. You follow what I'm saying? So keep it as pure selfishness, not this astira, chanchala and other aspects of the mind and all. Don't bring it in here. Astira, chanchala, balavad, dridam, raga, dvesha. All that is different and this is different. A very unique nature of self, they're capable of harming oneself. Even if I want to cause pain to the other, I won't mind harming myself. Know that, no? People do that. They harm themselves, not that they want to harm themselves. They want to cause a pain to the other. And the only way that the pain can be caused to the other is by cutting myself. Now, I will not mind cutting myself. People do all that, no? They will not mind it because at that point of time, what is more important? Causing pain to the other. And what is the way it will cause pain to the other? Yeah, I hurt myself. The other is, I cut myself. I know 30-40 seconds blood will clot and I will not bleed to death at all. Nothing will happen. I know that already. But the cut, you know how superficial will be that cut? How superficial that cut will be? Nothing. Why? The pain that intended to cause to the other. That's why it is called selfishness. Able to follow? It's absolutely selfish. Finally, when they are in that selfish mode, they think it is right. They think it is right. What to do? Nothing can be done. You just have to watch. If you are objective, you can do that. If you are not objective, you will collapse. It is pure self-centeredness, unconnected to the pain and feeling that I can cause to the other. Unconnected to that, because attention is only upon myself. Over. It's okay. Yes. Yes.
Talking about the post status last term, right?
Yes.
So many classes we are listening. The ear which enables you, the eye which enables you. That after complete, even what do you call? Theoretical also we understand. Sometimes we understand, try to understand that there is something beyond our mistakes. Something is enabling me. Why can't I understand properly and have this? It's easy to understand.
Yes. What Commissioner is asking is, Sriram, Commissioner, no? Commissioner's husband is also sitting here today. That's why. Yeah. You met Sriram? You have met him. It is easy to understand why it is difficult to practice. It is difficult to practice because fundamentally at the core, why it is so difficult to practice. I want to experience. The thought is there. I want to experience. I want to grow. I want to experience God. You cannot experience God. Are you able to follow? So difficult for people to practice this knowledge because at the core, they believe that At least I can get a glimpse, no? When I'm talking about practicing, or when I'm complaining that others are not putting it into practice, either way, what does it what does it imply? The eye can experience. The eye cannot experience. If the eye cannot experience it, you will not have this much of a worry about not practicing it. Are you able to follow? That is point number one. Point number two, why you are not able to practice? It's not that you are not able to practice. The greed, the effort and the result. The greed. It's the greed. The effort and the result will be commensurate. What does greed means? Greed means the effort and the result are not no connection at all. You follow? That is the second thing, greed. Third point. Third important point is this. As long as you have some basic intelligence, and if it is taught in the language that you know, anybody can understand. Any fool can understand. Only two conditions are required. The language you should know, some basic intelligence if you have, and if the language is known, you can understand. Understanding is one thing. Convincing your mind that what you have understood is the right thing. That is the practice. Are you able to follow the difference? Convincing your mind as to what you have understood is the right thing takes time. I understand. It's not that I don't understand, but my mind says, my mind is still not convinced about it. It means what? That much has to be drilled in. That much has to be drilled in. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Bhagavad Gita. After many janmas, you become a wise person. Many janmas, you become a wise person. Most of the time, it is literally true. Because liberation is a many janma project. Liberation is not a one janma project. Liberation is a project that goes over many janmas. You won't know. You won't know how long it will take. Why I won't know how long it will take? Because I don't know my past. If I can know my past, I can know how much time it will take. But can you know your past? No. Can anybody else know? Nobody knows. For all, one person that will know, that is Brahman only, and Brahman will not. Correct. Only one person that will know is Brahman, and Brahman is not a person to come and tell you all this. Therefore, what is it that you got to do? The third thing, understanding that there is a gap between understanding and my mind getting convinced about it. A professor of philosophy, he will understand what he is studying. That's why he is able to elaborate. The way that they can come out with the root meanings, the way that I can do, if at all I read, there are 3-4 Sanskrit professors I keep reading even today. No way related to growth and all that. No, but the way that they can come up with but their mind is not convinced. But their mind is not convinced about what they talk. From outside, you will think, oh my God, how can they talk so much and be different? For which Vedanta says, yes, for understanding to turn into a conviction, tapas is required. Karma yoga is required. Tapas is required. It is through tapas, the understanding will turn into a conviction. Knowledge will turn into wisdom, you can say. In a very generic way, you can say knowledge to turn into wisdom takes time. It will not become wisdom immediately. Okay, how to convert it into wisdom? Tapas is required. Like Ramatirtha says, everybody wants to become a Jesus Christ. And when the price is told, what is the price to become a Jesus Christ? They all back up. Everybody wants moksha. Who doesn't want liberation? Who doesn't want freedom? Everybody wants freedom. Who doesn't want freedom? And when you say this is the price you have to pay for freedom, they will say, இதை விட ஈஸியான மெத்தட் ஏதோ ஒன்று இருக்கும், உங்களுக்கு தெரியாது வேணா. Maybe you don't know, you can say, but you can't say there is no other method at all. You can say you don't know. That is yeah, correct. I always say, if you find an easier method, tell me also. Because yeah, if there is a method, why struggle like this? Might as well go there and attain freedom and keep going. No. Follow what I'm saying? For to practice is tapas. Practicing the philosophy is called tapas. And this tapas is very difficult. Why it is so difficult? Mind doesn't cooperate. It says it will always ask you one question, and you will not know what to answer to that question. One question that your mind will ask, and you will not know how to answer that question, and all your tapas fails. What is that one question that your mind will ask? Whether I'm going in the right direction? Is it practical? What is the use? What will I get out of it? The one question that the mind asks is this: what is the proof? One question the mind asks is, what is the proof? The answer is okay. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. One of the Bhagavad Gita has a lot of Mahavakyas. One of the Mahavakya of Bhagavad Gita is Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Beautiful is that statement. Because what is the proof? What is the proof? There is no proof. It is Shraddha the proof. Yeah, it is Shraddha the proof. Therefore, the proof-seeking mind always asks this question: what is the proof? No proof. Seri, avara paathalavadhu convincing irukudana. You look at the man who's saying this, that person who's talking this also is not very convincing. Because you will have your own notion of how it should be done. And that man will do something so opposite, so different. Again you are lost. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. What is the proof? The mind keeps asking. Are you able to follow? What is the utility? Will it work on Allah in artham? Yeah, it will. It is practical. Ravi. Is it practical, sir? Yes, it is practical. Next question is, are you sure? I am very sure. Proof? Correct. Any advice given, finally where it will come to? What is the proof? What is the proof? It is Shraddha the proof. It is Shraddha the proof. And it is Shraddha, and that Shraddha, what he says is Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Is it okay? Now I have to answer Ranjini's question. இல்லைன்னா வீட்டுக்குள்ள விட மாட்டாங்க. Otherwise, I will not be allowed into the house. Ganesh will kick me out at 8:15. Yeah. He will kick me. No, where will I go? Yeah. So I'll answer Anjani's question. 4 stages of human development. When we say 4 stages of human development, it is 4 stages of intellectual development. Human development, not as in anatomy, not as in how the other sciences study about human development. Sociology studies about human development, anthropology studies about human development, economics study, everything studies about human development, politics is about human development. And when we say history of human development here, it is very clearly implied. What is it? The history of human intellect development. And the intellect within brackets you have to supply. Then it will become so many things in the philosophy. The difficulties you have to supply in between. Within brackets you have to give a lot. Only if you start giving within brackets a lot, it will make sense. Why can't they put it directly? Why do they have to keep within brackets? Reflection. That within brackets is what your reflection is. That's where your reflection comes in. So history of human development means lesson 2. The history of human development means the history of the human intellect development. And the intellect develops in 4 stages. Age of perception, gazing, age of observation, age of scientific inquiry, age of contemplation. Age of contemplation, we elaborated a lot. Ascharya. It is, what is contemplation? Contemplation is a state of wonderment. A question that you ask out of ascharya. That is contemplation. A question that comes out of a contentment in relation to the world, but wanting to know what the reality is contemplation. Thoroughly contented and happy in relation to the world. That's why people ask, sir, can manana and nididhyasana, can reflection and contemplation be combined? No. Reflection is one stage, contemplation is another stage. What is contemplation? It's called technically nididhyasana. What is contemplation? Contemplation is a contentment in relation to the world, but discontented in relation to the reality. Are you able to follow? Opposite of that is no botheration at all about the reality and thoroughly discontented with the world. The reality doesn't bother at all. The question of reality doesn't give any sleepless night at all. But what gives sleepless nights? Something about the world. Something about the world is giving you sleepless. So contemplation is a stage where you are thoroughly contented in relation to the world, but lot of questions about the reality. Are you able to follow? If you are thoroughly contented with the world implies what? Spirituality or Vedanta is not sought after as a solution for your worldly problems. Are you able to follow? If we say you are thoroughly contented with the world means spirituality or God or reality is not sought after as a solution to a worldly problem. That's not a solution to this problem. As far as you are concerned, there is no problem here. In the world, there is no problem. Why? Because you have understood. What did you understand? Agamapayino nityaha tam titikshasva. It is agamapayinaha, it is anityaha, full stop. There is nothing to bother about. Clear? It is agamapayinaha, they come and go. Things keep coming and good moments come, goes away. Bad moments come, takes lot of time to go, but that also goes away. Yeah, good moments come, 2 minutes late goes away. Bad moments come, janmas also it doesn't go. But anyway, that also agama payana, they come and go. Nitya. It is, even when you are experiencing it, it is not there. Even when you are experiencing, it is not there. Two forms, two ways of modifications. One is the milk turning into a curd. That is one form of modification. Another form of modification is snake coming out of rope. There are two kinds of things. Yeah. All this, I'm just giving one example of thinking. All this at the reflective level itself, the person has done and found the world as not to be relied upon. If it is not to be relied upon, he will be unaffected by that, isn't it? Like, you have understood that monopoly money, you can't do anything. Yeah. With the monopoly money, you can't do anything. Yeah, you can 150 rupees you can pay, and few years back, I think 2 decades back, I read in one news. One of the African countries was going through a crisis, not knowing what to do. They printed $1 billion. You know that? They printed $1 billion. Now I bring that $1 billion note, I can't even buy half a liter of milk here. Zimbabwe did that. They printed one notice. I'm thinking now, in another few days, I'll meet Reza. And if Reza gives me a note like that, one note, that's all. What? $1 billion US dollar print panna now. What will happen? You follow what I'm saying? One vikara is, one kind of form is the milk turning into a curd. Another is the snake coming out of rope. World has these two combinations. Idella reflection level, the person has understood all this and found that there is no use on relying this. There is no use upon relying the monopoly money to buy anything. Monopoly money, if I buy half a liter of milk packet, that fellow will say, yeah, criminal offense, they put me in jail also, they may. You follow what I'm saying? So, Nididya, age of contemplation is a state where you are thoroughly contented with the world, but you are in deep distress, mumukshatva, not knowing what the reality is. This is the age of contemplation, which we studied last week in detail. Now, the first three we will discuss in the first three we will talk about it a bit. First thing, first stage, age of gazing. Age of gazing means age of gazing. What is age of gazing? You see things around, your sense or your sense organs will perceive the respective sense object. The sense organ will perceive the respective sense objects, but reaction won't happen. How is it possible? It is possible. Is it really possible? Yes, it is. It is possible. Even today, there is a very good reasonable proportion of human beings, even today, living in the age of perception, age of gazing. Age of gazing means they see things around and don't understand anything. Why they don't understand anything? ஏன்னா குழப்பமே இல்லை. They don't get confused at all. Why they don't get confused at all? Because there's no question. Are you able to follow? They just gaze around and not be bothered at all about anything because there is no question. To avoid that only they say, don't take things for granted. Don't take things for granted. Don't take things for granted is the starting point of moving from age of gazing. Is it okay till now? What is age of gazing? This is age of perception. This is age of gazing. They see things, but they don't react. Only when you are reacting, the perception is complete. Till that time, that human being in a state of, that human being is not a human being at all. Almost like a coma, you can say. A person may be in coma. You can go and don't try all that. Theoretically visualize it. Person is in coma. Go and stand in front of that person. You can open the eyelids of the person and you stand in front. You can see your image in the. You can see your image in the retina. You know that, no? You can see, but that person doesn't register because no reactions to anything. Why no reactions to anything? Because minimum intellect also didn't wake up. The sign of intellect waking up from the age of perception is what happens at the age of 7, 8. That's why anything and everything they keep asking. Anything and everything, they know only one question to ask. What? Why? 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 Anything you say, they will say, why? Fourth step, you will get so fatigued listening to that why, isn't it? This is pink color. Why is pink? What can you say? Okay, you can talk about Vibgori colors and you can give all the explanation, but doesn't make any. It is just an indication of the intellect opened up. So questioning is an indication that the intellect is trying to awaken. Are you able to follow? That is why in Vedantic tradition, each and every question will be dealt with utmost sanctity. Each and every question has a sanctity to it and it will be dealt like that. Most of the times it won't be a meaningful question at all. No, it's wrong to say that. Why? Because in that question, some intellect is waking up. Some intellect is waking up. Therefore, the first sign of intellect waking up is simple why. Like in the case of a 4-year-old child, 5-year-old child and all that. Because anything and everything they keep asking, why, and they keep asking. The child asks why, and the adult come and asks, sir, this child of mine asked why. What will I say? I said, is it your why? It's not your why, no, forget it. It's not your why. Meaning, it's not your question. It is somebody else's. So what is age of perception means? Age of perception means not the why doesn't exist at all. Why doesn't come at all? Anything, there will not be a reaction at all. Sanskrit has a word for that, jada. Sanskrit, we have a word for that. It's called jada. Jadamnu peru. Jadamna Brahman mari irukum. Yeah. Brahman and jada looks like the same. Brahman and jadam looks like the same. அதாவது தமசும் சத்துவம் ஒரே மாதிரி இருக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்கு. தமசும் சத்துவம் பார்க்க ஒரே மாதிரி தான் இருக்கும். வெளில இருந்து பார்த்தா யார் தமஸ் யார் சத்துவம்னே தெரியாது. Isn't it? So age of perception is a state of jadam, meaning the senses are functioning, but the distinguishing factor of a human being, the intellect, is not functioning. If that fellow is hungry, he will eat. That person is not in coma. If he is hungry, that fellow will eat. Thirsty, the fellow will drink water. Falling off to sleepy, the fellow will sleep. Avladhan jadam na. You understand what is jadam? Every fellow jadam in artham. Pasicha, that fellow will eat. Thirsty, that fellow will drink water. If it rains, he will also try and sit under the shelter. Tukam vanda. Other than that, that fellow won't do anything. Other than this, that stage is called age of gazing. Even the richest person wants their children to get educated. Why? Because it is through education you will move out of the jada state first. Are you able to follow now? Even the richest person whose wealth is so much that their children need not get educated for the next 5 generations, also want their children to get educated. Why? Of this reason. Otherwise, they will live like a jadam only. This is called the age of perception. இதிலிருந்து வர first development தான் age of observation, known as superstition. Now what has happened? That jada will start asking why. And when this jadam start asking why, it will correlate according to its own observations. Correlating things according to its own observation is called superstition. Are you able to follow now what is superstition? Jadam stage la question kedayadu. Now questioning happens. Now questioning starts. When questioning starts, you will not be in a position to understand the answer directly, because you need a maturity to understand the answer. Questioning is important. Equally more important is what? In fact, much more important is what? The patience to go through the process to understand the answer. Most of the human beings don't have the patience to go through the process to understand the answer. They think that just because they have asked the question, they can understand. They can, by question, some data you can gather, and you have to sit with the data and be patiently processing it. Over a period of time, you can understand. Are you able to follow? It's a natural way of learning. So in the age of observation, in the age of superstition, what happens? The age of superstition, the person will ask, what is that? Why? I went for an example that is given is, every individual, every society, every culture have their own superstitions. Yeah. Whenever in Chennai, you all have a water problem, just call me. If you have a water problem in Chennai, rains are not coming, you're battling for water, just give me a call. I have one aunt. All that she has to do for rains to come is what? Just go and buy 2 kilos of wheat and sun dry. The moment she buys anything to sun dry, immediately what comes? Rain comes. According to her, she is very clear. No gods can, even rain gods can't come and change. Even if the rain god were to come and say, her question is, you didn't come day before, You didn't come yesterday. I bought it. It has happened, What? Lord Varuna will get confused. Maybe it is true. Yeah. Every society, every culture, every family, every individual has their own set of superstitions. Everybody has their own set of superstitions. Everybody will have. When you have outgrown that, you can laugh at it. When you are in it, you'll get very hurt if somebody talks about it. Again, I repeat. If you have outgrown that, you can laugh at it. When you are in it, you will get very hard. அதுதான் இந்த கிளாஸ் போனாலும் இப்படிதான் பேசினே இருப்பாங்க. இவங்களுக்குலாம் என்ன தெரியும்? You get very hurt. What is superstition? Correlating. See why? What is question implies? What? Correlation. All questions, through all human questions, we are only trying to correlate. Now correlate பண்ணலனா புரிய மாட்டேன்றது. Are you able to follow? So all questions has only one fundamental thing. What? Correlate. That correlation is what is called cause and effect. That correlating the cause and effect. Human beings doesn't have the luxury of going from cause to the effect. They only experience the effect and they have to infer back the cause. Are you able to follow again? Theoretically, cause and effect is wrong. In life doesn't give you the luxury of cause and effect. Life always gives you what? It gives the effect, work backwards and find the cause. That is where superstition or scientific inquiry comes. That's the distinction between superstition or scientific inquiry. The effect is there. The effect is what you experience. Now you have to work backwards and infer the cause. Why can't it be the other way? Why can't it be where? Why can't it be where the cause and effect comes, reveals itself? Vedanta says it reveals itself. The moment you have an intellect, it will reveal. As long as you don't have an intellect, you have to work in the backwards only. Are you able to follow? That is why when we define intellect, I always say intellect is the capacity to see the end in the beginning. That is intellect. That capacity to see the end in the இன்னைக்கு இந்த ஸ்டெப் எடுத்து வச்சா அது எங்க போய் நிற்கும்? I can see it so clearly. Cause and effect can be seen very clearly. For that, you need to have a sharp intellect. Now, how to develop that intellect? You necessarily have to go through the stage of superstition. It is not wrong to be superstitious, but to get stuck there is wrong. It's a natural state. That's why we don't criticize. We say don't be stuck there. Because from the age of observation, you cannot come to contemplation. Jadamlend contemplation vara mudiyadhu. Jadamlend you have to come back. You have to go through the steps. What is the step? Age of superstition. What does superstition means? Correlating cause and effect wrongly. Something I see, something I conclude. Are you able to follow? If what you are perceiving is true in itself, question intellect is not necessary. Again, I repeat. If what you see is what is true in itself, intellect, question is not necessary, intellect is not necessary. Are you able to follow? That's why we have given two instruments. One is the organs of perception that gives you a knowledge of the world. Purida? You are given two sets. One set of instruments gives you a knowledge of the world, what is known as jnanendriyas. They are giving you a jnanam. Look at the word they have kept for it. Jnanendriyas. They give you a knowledge, but that knowledge itself is not. But that knowledge is not a complete knowledge. If that is complete knowledge, intellect வந்து குழப்பறதுன்னு அர்த்தம். Because if sensors have proved it through sensors, you have gotten the right knowledge, then what is the need for intellect to come in there? The very fact that intellect has to come in there because of this. What? Correct. Very good. Very wise class. Yeah. I think Ganesh வீட்ல வாஸ்து நல்லா இருக்குதுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். In my house, vastu is so bad. Nothing is happening. Here, correct. You're right. Since what you see is not what it is, that's where question comes in, intellect comes into play. If what you see is what it is, why do you need another instrument to come and teach you that which is already known? And nature is not going to make that mistake of, once you know, you don't need something else also to teach you that. Therefore, it is very clear what perceptions don't give you the right knowledge. The play of intellect becomes very important. And how the intellect gets into play? By question. When you question, in the initial stages, you will make wrong correlations, which is okay. When you start questioning, in the initial stages, you will make wrong correlations. That is called age of observation or the age of superstition. You go through the proper training and all that, you come to the third stage. What is the third stage? The third stage of scientific inquiry. What is scientific inquiry? That's why we call scientific inquiry. Science emerges out, worldly sciences, materialistic sciences emerges out of this function. How does science grow because of this? Because they are questioning about the world and they want to understand the laws about the world, and they are making an effort to correlate cause and effect rightly. They want to correlate cause and effect rightly. But again, their inquiry is limited to the world only. What we do here is we adopt the scientific methodology. When we say we adopt the scientific methodology in Vedanta, we don't use the apparatus of telescope. We won't use the apparatus of microscope. We won't use their instruments. We will not use the instruments of the science. What we will use? The intellect we will use. The intellect is what we will use. And when the intellect is used, the intellect says, first let me understand what is there. What is being taught, what is being told, I will understand first. That's scientific inquiry. Why can't I know it by myself? When a human being says, why can't I know it by myself? What will happen? You will end up reinventing the wheel again and again and again. You will follow? Somebody has invented the wheel now. Scientific inquiry says, improvise on it and go to the next level. No. I don't want to. I will want to be original, creative. I will do everything by myself, and you will come up with a fantastic discovery after 30 years of effort. What? The wheel. And everybody will look at it and say, this is known for centuries. It has been told. You lost. Are you able to follow? Therefore, scientific inquiry is a very honest method of understanding first. Understanding what is being taught. When it comes to Vedanta, we follow the same scientific method. When we come to Vedanta, we try to do the same method. What? First, let me understand what is being taught. First, let me understand what is being told. So many doubts comes about that itself. Let me try and clarify. This scientific approach, contemplation, different because the field of inquiry is different. You know, all branches of knowledge is scientific by nature only. That's why they say political science, no? All branches of knowledge in the world is scientific by nature, because there is a method, there is a sequence. Where there is a method, there is a sequence, it is called science. Not necessarily it has to be physics, chemistry, math. Isn't it? Even economics follow the same method of science. So everything, wherever there is anything purposeful, meaningful, there will be science behind it. What we are discussing in age of contemplation is the field of inquiry differs. In science, the field of inquiry is matter. In age of contemplation, the field of inquiry is reality. Methodology remains the same. எதை பத்தி பேசுறோம்ன்றதுதான் difference. Are you able to follow? In science, the discussion is about matter. In Vedanta, the discussion is about the reality. The discussion about the reality, and you are the reality is the conclusion. We are not going into that now. So what is age of perception? Jadam, no reaction to anything. Clear? Mind is, it's not that the mind is lost or preoccupied. Understand the difference. It is not the lost mind or the preoccupied mind. It is that mind and intellect didn't awaken at all. That is age of observation. It's not that a preoccupied mind. Next comes questioning. Next comes questioning. And when they question, what will they question? What will they question? Perception tells me one thing, and I'm going according to my perceptions, hoping that I will get it. Finally, I'm not getting it. Are you able to follow? My perceptions are guiding me to something, and I want to get things according to my perception, and I'm not getting it. Why? That's the question. Are you able to follow? Why comes because of that? Black cat crossed to know. That's why you didn't get. It's an answer. Black cat crossed. That's why. So you didn't get. I didn't wear my lucky dress for the exam, isn't it? If I had worn the lucky dress, I would have passed. Lucky pen, lucky dress. The Anjaneer கோயில்ல கும்பிடாம போயிட்டேன் அவ்வளவுதான். When I was passing, I didn't worship that Anjaneer, and that Anjaneer got so angry. And then using his powers, he changed the question paper. Superstition. Are you able to follow? I want to ask a why, and that why, vague, unrelatable answers, mind will like it. That is superstition. I'm going to talk about it next week also. The vague, unrelatable answers, mind will like it. Oh, you should have done your work properly. Maybe you didn't do your things properly. That's why work didn't happen. That mind will not like that answer. Supposing you say, பூனை குறுக்குல போச்சு அதனால தான்னா correct sir. Can you follow? Unrelated mind, that is superstition. It's a weakness. Intellect outgrows that and becomes scientific. That is also weakness. Even scientific is also weakness only. That is why fourth stage is there. If scientific inquiry is best, that should have stopped there. No, that is also not the ultimate. That is also very limited by nature only. Then what is the ultimate? What is the ultimate? This is the ultimate. What? Age of contemplation. Age of observation, jadam. Age of superstition, little bit I'll elaborate next week also. And then we'll see the scientific inquiry, meaning the methods that go into the scientific inquiry and how Vedanta follows the same methodology. The field of inquiry is different. This is the history of human development. So yeah. With this, we conclude for today. We'll continue next week.